When you think airline, you probably don't imagine a Cessna Caravan, and neither did I at first. But here at Mokulele Airlines, we fly our 15 Cessna Caravans on over 35,000 flights per year, carrying 300,000 passengers. It's the perfect plane for the kind of operations we do with short hops here between the islands. So I want to take this video as a chance to show you guys why I love flying the Cessna Caravan and some of its unique characteristics. Just please don't use this video as a pre-flight guide or for flight training, but I'm sure you'll learn some cool stuff about this amazing airplane. This Cessna Caravan November 859 Mike Alpha is one of our legacy models. It's equipped with a PT6 114A. It's a 675 horsepower engine. Back in here's our fuel control unit. We have our battery right here, an ITT probe, interturbine temperature, and one of our igniters. It's powered out here in the front by our Mokulele prop. This engine is a free turbine 2-shaft engine and is one of the most reliable engines in the world. It's why we use it out here for so many turns on a daily basis and so many cycles per year. One thing that's worth mentioning about turboprops is that they're most efficient on short trips at low to mid altitudes, so that's perfect for our Hawaii operations. We fly to 7 airports scheduled: Honolulu, Kapalua, Kahului, Hana, Waimea, Kona, and Molokai. So our shortest flight is about 20 minutes and our longest flight is about 50 minutes. That's pretty short for airline operations, so this is the perfect engine for that. Our Cessna Caravans here have a length of about 41 feet and a wingspan of 52 feet, so it's a relatively large airplane for someone's first job. Back here, one thing I want you guys to notice is that our tail surface is really far away from the CG on this extended version of the Caravan. As I'll talk about a little bit later, that can make rudder coordination a little bit difficult because you have such a long arm between the CG and tail. Now here on the inside, we have room for 9 passengers, all the way up to the front. As you can see, there's no real cockpit doors, so that allows passengers to look in all the time. As a 135 airline, we don't have the same TSA requirements and cockpit security requirements as like a 121 airline. But the best seat in the entire airplane, and my favorite seat, besides the cockpit, is here in row 5. You get a view outside both sides of the airplane and also a ton of legroom. It's also the row we use here at Mokulele to have passengers who are flying with their pets, because all pets fly for free on Mokulele Airlines. So this is the cockpit of the Cessna Caravan. I want to give you guys a brief overview of what we're looking at here. So in all of our Caravans here in Hawaii, we have 3 G1000 units, both on the first officer side and on the captain side. There's a long circuit breaker panel down here with another circuit breaker panel up here. All of these are engine controls and battery controls. We have our standard electrical panel with our lights, cabin controls, and heats. If you haven't flown the Caravan, this is called our Inertial Separator. We can put this into bypass mode by pulling it out, which allows anything that's heavier than air going through the engine intake to go ahead and exit the engine before it goes into the compression stage. We use this and leave this open during taxis so that nothing contaminates the engine as it's coming in. Looking here at our center console, we have our Etl Lever, our emergency power lever. If we have a fuel control unit failure, we'll use this lever to control the engine. We also have our power lever right here, which gives us torque, which we can find right here measured in pounds of torque or on our standby gauge. We have our prop lever, controls prop pitch, a fuel condition lever, which is going to go ahead and give us our gas generator speed, and we also have a flap lever. We have elevator trim right here, our aileron trim, and rudder trim with a fuel shutoff valve and a firewall shutoff valve. Some more standby gauges right here, AC controls and cabin heat controls. overall, it's really not that complicated of a cockpit. So if you're moving up from something like a 172, it's an easy jump to make. We're in the process now of fueling up for our trip. The airplane can hold around 335 gallons of fuel. 332 of those gallons are usable fuel. Jet A in this airplane.
Pause system test. Okay.
Tower information, Bravo 0351, wind 030,
Real fun in flying a Cessna Caravan is the fact that they're incredibly dynamic airplanes. In a landing configuration, it stalls in the low 50s, but on our maximum descent, we can go as high as 175 knots. Realistically, we fly our descents at about 160 knots. Some of the airports we fly into out here, like Hana or Kapalua, have relatively short runways at about 3,000 feet. And with a full load of passengers in the back on a hot day, it can get relatively challenging for short field operations, but the Caravan handles short fields extremely well with stopping distances of less than 1,000 feet in the right conditions. One question I get asked most is why we operate our Cessna Caravans with 2 pilots on board when legally this is a single pilot certified airplane, and the biggest reason for that is safety. Having a second pair of eyes on board is always a good thing, especially when you're flying passengers in busy airspace over open water. So in our operation, one pilot flies or manages the autopilot system while the other pilot performs radio calls and does checklists and monitors the overall situation. This is really great for first officers because it gives you months of line experience before you're ready to upgrade into that left seat as a captain. What about logging flight time? So for me as a first officer, I can log flight time in the Cessna Caravan for a few reasons. First of all, our federally approved FAA op specs for our air carrier certificate under Part 135 for Mokulele requires on nearly all of our operations that we have 2 pilots on board. Additionally, our federally approved and legally binding General Operations Manual requires that we have 2 pilots on board anytime we're flying under Part 135 with passengers. Essentially, anytime a second pilot is legally required for flight, that's when I can log flight time, which is essentially all of our flights here. The company has provided us as pilots with a series of limitations for operating the Caravan that are a little bit more conservative than normal Caravan limitations. That means the longevity of our engines are improved, as well as their reliability over time. So that means that in cruise we're flying it a little bit slower at about 135 knots, but for us that doesn't really matter too much because our trips are so short. There you have it. We're one of the smallest airlines in the world, flying relatively small airplanes, but we still fly over 30,000 flights a year. The Cessna Caravan may not be big, but it's perfect for the kind of flying we do. Our operation mimics larger Part 121 airlines, and even though we use small airplanes, they're perfect for this kind of operation.